Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. This is Live Free or Die. I am your host, King Eli, the new king of alternative news on your Manhattan neighborhood network. And if you are receiving this transmission, then you are the resistance to tyranny against the mind of man. That's right. All right. Before we get started on regular news today, I just want to touch on a little subject before we get started, like I said. Hi, everybody. We're live. All right. I want to get into the left-right paradigm. The left-right paradigm basically are the Democrats and Republicans. And they put on this dog and pony show, acting like they're helping the people, when meanwhile, all they are helping are themselves. Because when it's all said and done, when the people finally vote them in, whose orders do they follow? The Federal Reserve and the central banks. About 98% of the Democratic and Republicans, senators, governors, congressmen, whoever you want to call them, in the end, like I said, when they get voted in, they take orders from the Council of Foreign Relations and the central elite banking system. There's only about 1 or 2% of your Democrat and Republican candidates that actually do for the people. You got Dr. Ron Paul for the Republicans, and you got a couple for the Democrats. I can't recall any names right now. But anyway, just wake up, people, to this left-right paradigm. The Democrats and the Republicans putting on this wrestling soap opera type show for you. Wake up. We need to do away with the two-party system and maybe have a 10-party system, a 7-party system, whatever. You know, we need more than 2 parties to run this country. That is my point. Moving on, let's move on to news now. Now that I have explained the left-right soap opera that's going on in politics these days. There is now a petition on the White House. A petition to abolish the TSA appears on the White House website. That's right. You can go to, whitehouse.gov under We the People section, and you can sign this petition to abolish the TSA. Over 5,000 people have already signed up, and we can sure use more. Because who likes the TSA grabbing your genitals and molesting your children? I sure as hell don't. That's why I don't fly. But pretty soon they're going to be in malls, buses, trains. I already seen them on the New York City subway trying to mark my bag and put some detector on it for a bomb, trying to protect us from Al-Qaeda. Makes me mad. Anyway, let's move on. I'm so mad. I don't want to get into that. This makes me mad too. The new Freedom Tower. Yeah, remember, you know this Freedom Tower they're building? It turns out most of the materials, the glass and the steel, are coming from Germany and China. They are outsourcing the materials for our national monument. They are outsourcing jobs. They are outsourcing materials. This is a disgusting travesty to the United States of America. Pretty soon, they'll have some studio op directing me from India to do this show. Hopefully not. I'm just maybe exaggerating. Did you also know that the Martin Luther King National Mall, or the National Monument they have for Dr. Martin Luther King, was made in China as well? That's right. Our hero, Dr. Martin Luther King, gets a monument built for him for all the struggles and everything he did for this country, and they make it in China? Why not build a factory in Birmingham, Alabama, where he fought vigorously for civil rights, and give jobs to the number of black people that live down there, instead of outsourcing our jobs to China and India so that these big global corporate companies can get tax breaks and they pay 0% tax to build stuff over there. This needs to stop. Moving on. America and Europe, saving the rich and losing the economy. Economic policy in the United States and Europe has failed, and the people are suffering. We're too busy bailing out banks and these businesses that they say are too big to fail. We need to, this needs to end. Unbelievable. Like I was saying before, high time for reparations for offshore trillions for taxation. One of the greatest detriments to job creation in the U.S. is the overseas income deferral law. Like I was saying before, they outsource our jobs overseas. Meanwhile, companies like Google, GE get paid almost 0% tax. And Warren Buffett says, hey, let's tax the rich. But meanwhile, like I said, he pays 0% tax. And they want to tax the rich, people making 150, 250,000 and over. That's not rich anymore. With the way inflation is rising, that's the new middle class. That's right. I don't make 250,000, but anyway. California City, moving on, California City closes down Bible study in a private home. That's right. No more having get-togethers with your friends to read the Bible in your home, at least in this California city. They will fine you $500 per meeting. $500 per meeting if you have 3 or more people. Oh my God. Oh my God is right. So if I invite Enrique and my boys to talk about Jesus in my house, they're going to fine me $300 in California. Tyranny is running rampant. All right, let's get into some solar flares. I'm moving quickly because I only have a little bit of time. I want to get to as much stories as I possibly can. I don't think I'll get to it all, but solar flare could unleash near holocaust across planet Earth. The sun, you see, is acting up again. NASA recently warned that the solar activity is surging, with a peak expected to happen around 2013 that could generate enormous radiation levels that could sweep across the planet Earth. Yeah, that's the whole 2012 phenomenon they're talking about. There's no big Planet X coming. There's solar flares. Solar flares, they say, are going to possibly wipe out the electricity for the whole northern hemisphere for about, it could last for months to years, they say. Anyway, moving on again. The CIA and the NYPD have teamed up. That's right, they have a CIA officer working down at the headquarters of the NYPD. By the way, you can email me at livefreeordie@AOL.com. If you have any questions or articles you would like me to read on air, email me there. I'll be taking calls a little later, so you can get ready for that. Back to the CIA working down at NYPD headquarters. That's right, the partnership between these two bureaucracies is extensive and chilling. The CIA has trained at least one cop at the farm, the agency's spy school in Virginia. Other personnel float back and forth. So, this is basically saying cops concentrate most of their efforts on Muslim neighborhoods for now. But where will they go next? Will they go to your local bar? Will they come after Tea Partiers? I'm not a Tea Partier, by the way, because I believe the Tea Party has been hijacked by Sarah Palin and other people. That's why we need a 7-party system so we can stop the hijacking, stop the Federal Reserve, stop the central banking from hijacking our political parties. The more parties, the better. John Adams was against the 2-party system, our 2nd president of the United States. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, they now have these, moving on, they have all these pre-crime face scanners to be used for security interrogations. That's right. Pre-crime face scanning lie detector technology set to be rolled out in airports and other public venues. They're going to roll them out in like football games, concerts, maybe even the movies. They're going to put you in a trailer, read your face, and to see if you're a liar. The regular polygraph doesn't even work. It's been proven inconclusive in court, so now they're going to use this new, read your face technology to tell if you're lying. That's going to put a lot of people in jail. All right, let's get into Mountain Guardian exercise. There's a exercise drill, I believe in Denver. It's called Operation Mountain Guardian. Look it up on the internet, please. Basically, this exercise takes your children to sports stadiums. That's right. They're going to implement martial law. And while your kids are in school, the National Guard, the Army, or whoever they send are going to pick up your kids, take them down to Yankee Stadium or the nearest stadium, have you come down, pick them up, but when you show up, they're taking you in too. You and your family will be held at the FEMA Sports Stadium Detention Center if this tyranny succeeds. You may say I sound paranoid, but this is all news that you can find online. AP, even the mainstream media, they throw it out there way in the back page, but excuse me. All right, internet hits all-time high as news source. That's right, more people are moving away from these mainstream media outlets like NBC, ABC, Fox, and they're moving towards the internet. This is why I'm here, because these companies are paid for by the government. Most of the 2008 bailout money went to pay for MSNBC and the other media companies that are out there. They're bought and paid for it. They do what they're told. Moving on, I want to get into Bloomberg and his UN security. Bloomberg makes me sick. Mayor Bloomberg, you make me sick. With all these barriers you're putting up in the city, I'm sure you've seen these cement barriers that are there for nothing and these bike lanes that'll get you killed. They got these cement barriers blocking fire trucks. They impede the fire truck from getting to real emergencies because they can't cut around traffic like they used to because they have a big cement barrier there for nothing. People are dying because of you, Bloomberg, because you want to snarl up traffic so you can raise your tolls on the bridges. All right, let me stop. Calm down. I'm ranting, I'm angry. Let's move on. The CIA's Facebook knows where you go on the web. That's right. When you sign up to Facebook and you add their cookies, even after you log off, they know exactly what you do and where you go on the internet. That's your friendly CIA for you. And the Federal Reserve as well. The Federal Reserve plans to identify key bloggers. So if you talk about the Federal Reserve like I do and you blog about it, they're watching you. Big Brother is watching you. That's right. And dissatisfaction with the government reaches an all-time high. According to this poll, 81% of Americans have indicated they are dissatisfied with the way the country is being governed. This comes from the Gallup's annual governance survey. All right, moving on. France bans cash sales of gold and silver over $600. That's right, you cannot buy or sell gold or silver in France if it's worth more than $600. If you don't believe me, just type in the words I'm saying. You'll be able to find it. Also, they're doing door-to-door vaccinations, training the public for forced inoculations. I believe this is in Natomas, California. Natomas school officials are going door-to-door with a traveling nurse to give whooping cough shots to unvaccinated students. That's right. They're going to call your house, they're going to knock on your door, and they're going to try to vaccinate your children. To protect you from whooping cough. And the flu shot, by the way, which doesn't even make sense unless you have a time machine, because let's say you get the flu shot this year. That's last year's strain in the flu shot. So how is that going to protect you? Unless you have a time machine, like I said. The flu shot is a fraud. Don't take it, please. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional, but it is my personal advice not to take this damn flu shot. They already put the H1N1 version of the flu shot in the regular flu shot. Ask your doctor. It's in the insert. He'll tell you. He has to. And you can also tell him you don't want it. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into Libya. The Syrian civilians say NATO is committing genocide. That's right. These civilians in Libya say that NATO are exterminating black people. I touched on this last week. Some people seem to keep trying to ignore it. You can't ignore the fact that black people, there was a Holocaust being committed on black people in Libya. Come on, people. I'll show you a picture of how they round up black people. Here you go. That's one of the photos, how they round up black people. They take them to prison detention centers and execute most of them, according to non-mainstream news articles, because the mainstream is really not reporting it. And also, these Libyan rebels are Al-Qaeda. All right. Walter Fauntroy, found dead in Libya, returns home. Or feared dead in Libya, sorry. Feared dead in Libya, returns home. Former U.S. Congressman Walter Fauntroy, who recently returned from a self-sanctioned peace mission to Libya, said he went into hiding for about a month in Libya after witnessing horrifying events in Libya's bloody civil war, a war that Fauntroy claims is backed by European forces. That's right. He's saying that basically the European forces are running the show, and they're killing even the Al-Qaeda Muslims, the Libyan rebels who are really Al-Qaeda. They're killing them to let them know that they're in charge as well. There's a whole bunch of killing going on out there. I don't know what kind of peace is that. Oh boy, I want to touch on this. Military to collaborate with Wyoming cops in drunk driving crackdown. This is a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act, where the military, any branch, cannot do basically police duties on the streets of America. I'll read the Posse Comitatus Act for you. The Posse Comitatus Act, passed on June 18th, 1878, following the end of Reconstruction, restricts the federal government from using the military in state and local enforcement. This statute specifically prohibits Army and Air Force and units of the National Guard under federal authority from acting in a law enforcement capacity. Excuse me. This is a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act, and it's wrong. Anyway, we're running out of time. You know now the ACF is taking, they're not allowing marijuana users to own firearms. This is an open letter to all federal firearms distributors. This is an official letter from the ATF basically telling the gun shops they cannot sell guns to medical marijuana users. And if they do so, they will take their license and they will arrest them. Also, they will go into the homes of these medical marijuana users and take their legally owned firearms because they have cancer and they need marijuana to hold their food down. I, for one, do not use marijuana, but there are studies that prove that marijuana is more harmless than alcohol and tobacco. But that's another war on drugs, phony story. Anyway, let's take some phone calls. I'm going to throw my number up there. 212-245-7273. We are live. This is Live Free or Die. All right. No more Pentagon dinners for Al-Qaeda leader Anwar al-Awlaki, the CIA lackey. He has been reportedly killed again. He was killed back in 2009. There was an airstrike that killed him. Apparently, they killed him again. This is the guy who ran the Times Square bomber, the Fort Hood shooter, and the underwear bomber. But he also had dinner at the Pentagon weeks after 9/11 with the top generals. I think this guy is a patsy, works for the CIA, and that's why I call him Anwar al-Awlaki, the CIA lackey, along with his buddy, Adam Kadan, or real name Adam Perlman, Jewish kid, a fat Jewish kid from San Diego, whose grandfather was the president of the ADL, and he was also arrested for beating up Muslims, but now he's the #3 leader on Al-Qaeda. So let me get this straight. You got a bunch of Muslims, Al-Qaeda people, now worshiping and following a fat Jewish kid as their leader? If you believe that, folks, I have a bridge on the moon I want to sell you for $1. Call the number. We'll negotiate right now. All right. We got a caller. Let's see. Turn your TV down. All right, caller, you're on the air. What part of Manhattan you from, and give me your name, please.
Midtown Manhattan. My name's Steve.
What's up, Steve?
How you doing? Yeah, I called last week.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing? This is your second week on the show, right?
That's right.
Oh, so every Saturday at this time you're gonna be on, right?
Every Saturday, 6 o'clock for the next 12 weeks. This is my slot.
Oh, okay. Now, I just heard you talked about martial law.
Okay.
And you said, like, if martial law is declared, like, they're going to wind up, pick up kids from school and bring them to Yankee Stadium. Isn't that supposed to be like a holding cell?
Basically, that's the point. You saw that movie with Denzel Washington?
Well, what's the name of that movie?
I can't recall it right now, but basically it's Denzel Washington, Bruce Willis. They took all the kids into the Muslim people into the sports stadiums and held them there. They declared martial law. I forget the name of the movie. But basically, that's what they're planning.
Day, right? So that's not Independence Day.
No, it's not Independence Day. It's one of those terrorist movies.
Oh, it's one of the terrorist movies, so Denzel Washington.
Yeah, where the Muslims supposedly blow up some buses in the city. They get to sleeper cells.
Yeah, and the city was on lockdown. They have to declare that right. They were going to claim martial law in 9/11, but they had enough evidence to do that. Believe it or not.
Absolutely not. They never even put out a warrant for Osama bin Laden.
Right, because remember, years ago, Hawaii was under martial law back before it became part of the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, during World War II, I think. When they bombed at Pearl Harbor.
When they let Pearl Harbor happen, yes.
Yeah, I think Hawaii had martial law, but now they're saying they're having martial law again in the states of the New World Order starts. The NWO.
Well, yes, they're setting up these
FEMA camps right throughout the states.
They're setting up FEMA camps, detention centers. Basically, they're going to take your kids out of school, take them over to the stadiums for their protection, have you come pick them up, and then when you show up, you're going in there with your kids, and they're going to hold you there, inoculate you with the shots, and that's the end of you.
Oh, they give you the shots there, right?
That's right.
Now, this is for all schools throughout the city. Like I know each state have its different sectors. There's 10 sectors.
This is just one of their plans. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do it.
I went on YouTube and I found out about them.
Absolutely, you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube. Steve, I'm going to have to let you go. I'm going to let some all the other callers get in and have a chance. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your call. Good information there. Anybody else wants to call and chime in? I want to get to the Boston. You heard of this Boston threat that they're going to fly model planes into the Pentagon? Well, that was basically set up by the FBI. That's right. They found another patsy that was willing on buying these fake bombs so they can go in and do some fake terrorist act to make themselves look good. Do you know the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center was run by the FBI? That's right, because the Muslim terrorist they were trying to set up turned out not to be so retarded as they thought he was. And he wiretapped them. And then one of their own agents whistle blew on them as well. That's right, the 1993 World Trade Center bombing was committed by the FBI. Look into it. Makes me angry. Damn it. 212-245-7273. We got about 3 minutes left. Wisconsin judge says that citizens have no right to decide what to eat without the permission from the government. That's right. You can't even drink milk from your own cow if you have it in the backyard, according to this judge. Anyway, you've all heard those Chuck Norris stories. You know, Chuck Norris will knock an elephant out with one punch. Chuck Norris, blah, blah, blah. Well, Chuck Norris strike backs against GMOs and Codex Alimentarius and the government assault against health freedom. That's right. Chuck Norris is now standing up against the NWO. Moving on. Don't worry about the Federal Reserve. They just want to be your friend online. So if the Federal Reserve adds you on Facebook, they just want to be your friend. Yeah, right. They want to watch everything you do, everything you talk about them. All right, this comes from a Harris poll. Ron Paul would beat Obama 51 to 49%, according to this Harris poll. That's right, people. You need to vote for Ron Paul. Vote for Ron Paul, please. I don't know him personally. He doesn't pay me to be here. It's my personal belief. He's the only actually Republican, the 1% of Republican who's out there. Go by their voting records. Look at what they have done for the past year, ever since they have joined this Congress or Senate, whatever house they're in, and then you'll see what kind of candidate they are, and that's what you have to vote for. 212-245-7273. Call me live. Also, Governor Perry's on a spiral downhill. He stumbles like I'm stumbling here on this live show, mumbling. The guy's no good. Herman Cain is no better. No better. Caller, what part of Manhattan you from? Give me your name, please.
Calling from Harlem, brother, man, and this is George. Brother George.
What's up, Brother George?
Everything is cool, my man. I'm looking at your brother there talking. What's his name? The host.
King Eli.
King Eli. I was looking at the flag he got on the side next to the American flag, and I wanted to pull his coat and let him know the origin of that flag.
I already know the origin, brother, but go ahead.
What is it? Oh, I'm talking to you.
Get out of here. We're about to go. You can hit my P.O. Box. P.O. Box 37, 432 East 14th Street. Hit me there if you don't trust the internet. I'm going to have to go soon. I don't understand this. This guy says the origin of the flag. This origin of the flag is from the revolution. Unbelievable. All right, show's over. I got cut off. Thank you, guys. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. This is Live Free or Die. I am your host, King Eli, the new king of alternative news on your Manhattan neighborhood network. And if you are receiving this transmission, then you are the resistance to tyranny against the mind of man. That's right. All right. Before we get started on regular news today, I just want to touch on a little subject before we get started, like I said. Hi, everybody. We're live. All right. I'm going to get into the left-right paradigm. The left-right paradigm basically are the Democrats and Republicans. And they put on this dog and pony show, acting like they're helping the people, when meanwhile, all they are helping are themselves. Because when it's all said and done, when the people finally vote them in, whose orders do they follow? The Federal Reserve and the central banks. About 98% of the Democratic and Republicans, senators, governors, congressmen, whoever you want to call them, in the end, like I said, when they get voted in, they take orders from the Council of Foreign Relations and the central elite banking system. There's only about 1 or 2% of your Democrat and Republican candidates that actually do feed the people section, and you can sign this petition to abolish the TSA. Over 5,000 people have already signed up, and we can sure use more. Because who likes the TSA grabbing your genitals and molesting your children? I sure as hell don't. That's why I don't fly. But pretty soon they're going to be in malls, buses, trains. I already seen them on the New York City subway, trying to mark my bag and put some detector on it for a bomb, trying to protect us from Al-Qaeda. Makes me mad. Anyway, let's move on. I'm so mad. I don't want to get into that. This makes me mad too. The new Freedom Tower. Yeah, remember, you know this Freedom Tower they're building? It turns out most of the materials, the glass and the steel, are coming from Germany and China. They are outsourcing the materials for our national monument. They are outsourcing jobs. They are outsourcing materials. This is a disgusting travesty to the United States of America. Pretty soon, they'll have some studio op for the people. You got Dr. Ron Paul for the Republicans, and you got a couple for the Democrats. I can't recall any names right now. But anyway, just wake up, people, to this left-right paradigm. The Democrats and the Republicans putting on this wrestling soap opera type show for you. Wake up. We need to do away with the two-party system and maybe have a 10-party system, a 7-party system, whatever. You know, we need more than 2 parties to run this country. That is my point. Moving on. Let's move on to news now. Now that I have explained the left-right soap opera that's going on in politics these days. There is now a petition on the White House. A petition to abolish the TSA appears on the White House website. That's right. You can go to, whitehouse.gov under directing me from India to do this show. Hopefully not. I'm just maybe exaggerating. Did you also know that the Martin Luther King National Mall, or the National Monument they have for Dr. Martin Luther King, was made in China as well? That's right. Our hero, Dr. Martin Luther King, gets a monument built for him for all the struggles and everything he did for this country, and they make it in China? Why not build a factory in Birmingham, Alabama, where he fought vigorously for civil rights, and give jobs to the number of black people that live down there, instead of outsourcing our jobs to China and India so that these big global corporate companies can get tax breaks and they pay 0% tax to build stuff over there. This needs to stop. Moving on. America and Europe, saving the rich and losing the economy.